Hello and welcome to Dystopian Deep Dives. Today I only have one fan on. Anyway, just because I was talking about Patti Smith yesterday, and I plan to go to the library and get the Mapplethorpe book. I believe it is there. I've located it in the Free Library of Philadelphia. So I was thinking of Lou Reed, who I also don't really like very much. But I am a fan of his wife, Laurie Anderson, whose song was on a lot of shorts I was watching like a few months ago. That video is a masterpiece of visual alchemy, like representing magic. It's a very interesting piece of video work. And I think Laurie Anderson was always amazing and sort of way more interesting than Lou Reed. But this article I found here was really interesting on culture, or I guess it's part of the culture section of El País. I don't know what this magazine is. I can't read Spanish, obviously. But Laurie Anderson is obsessed with resuscitating husband Lou Reed with AI. The avant-garde artist frequently converses with a chatbot designed to emulate the former Velvet Underground frontman. And so this got me to thinking about the technology and the sort of revolution and how it is sort of, at this point, a hokey sort of magician's kind of trickery, right? Obviously you're not talking to Lou Reed, but because Lou Reed was a public person and has a lot of information about him, it's easy to feed that into a language learning model, and that model can then talk to you as if it were Lou Reed. And this is sort of the hokey kind of magic trick that they're playing. They're saying it's like immortality, but you're not connected to that. Your soul isn't connected to this mirror that the technology creates from all the material data here on the planet about you, right? So it's very interesting, I think. And I do wonder if, because it's electronically based, if perhaps like Lou Reed's ghost is there in the background somewhere. And maybe that's what they believe it's doing. I don't know. But at, surface level, it is just a data collection dump that then feeds the data back to you as this persona. So the musician, artist, and thinker Laurie Anderson hasn't needed to turn to Netflix, holograms, or apps to do this for her partner, to make him like immortal or whatever. There are services known as mourning technology and or digital necromancy, according to this article. So she has had, and when was this published? This is April 2024. So I bet this mirror exhibit is still available. So in public is an exhibit called I'll Be Your Mirror, which shares its name with the song by the Velvet Underground and which makes use of AI to invite reflection. Undoubtedly, the talking point of the exhibition is the one that features AI versions of Anderson and Reed. Visitors are able to interact with them by asking questions, eliciting answers that emulate their thought processes and voices. Using AI, Anderson has spoken to and composed songs with the late Lou Reed. Oh my goodness, of course she would though, because it's very fitting of Laurie Anderson, who I think really believes in this technological revolution, and her music reflects this with the synth that she would use. I think it makes perfect sense for her. And I think it's a strange way to cement your immortality on this plane even further, you know, people will remember Lou Reed and Laurie Anderson, who knows how long from now. But they're interesting people, and that's, you know, what leaves a mark in history. Um, so I think it's very interesting that this is where she's gone with her art and with Lou Reed and with this burgeoning technology, and it makes perfect sense. Laurie Anderson says from this website, I was working with the Machine Learning Institute and Sia Furler Institute in Adelaide, and they made algorithms out of things I've said and written, creating a machine made from my vocabulary, pace, and style. They did the same with Lou Reed, my partner for 21 years. These are activated by writing short phrases. The engines then write in those styles, which can also be combined or put into prose. If you, oh my God, of course, this is just great. You can't make it up. The tickets were $39 for non-members, but for friends, which I'm assuming means members of the museum or whatever it is that's putting this on, it's $33. And I don't know what a contributor, maybe someone who helps fund, it's like 30. What does CONC mean? Laurie Anderson says she's totally addicted to this. She says, quote, I'm totally 100% sadly addicted. I kind of literally just can't stop doing it, and my friends just can't stand it. And so also, this is a way to try to circumvent grief, which is a process you have to go through when someone dies. And so, it's kind of hokey, isn't it? It's a facsimile of the person. Their soul is not there. It's just all of the things they've done and said, fed into a machine. I mean, this is actually kind of sad, isn't it? But she says, I mean, I really don't think I'm talking to my dead husband and writing songs with him, but people have styles and they can be replicated. Okay, right? I guess, you know, your digital twin. That is very real, you know. In the same article, Kanye West gave his wife, Kim Kardashian, a hologram of her late father, lawyer Robert Kardashian, as a 40th birthday gift. So, you know, it's already happening. It's not science fiction. And it's kind of this really, I think, again, all of it's subversion and all of it's to flip the natural world on its head, right? So the things that humans go through that like are icky, that we don't like grief and death, these people want to try to bend the barriers of. They can't break them, but they want to bend the barriers, which is very much sort of postmodern ethos as well. And that's why it's an unholy trinity. Anyway, 3 years earlier, journalist Sam Anderson wrote in the New York Times that Laurie Anderson admitted to being obsessed with AI. She claimed at the time that all she had to do was enter 6 words or a photograph into the machine to get an almost immediate virtual text. Although she acknowledged that the program was not perfect, as 1/3 of the content seemed to have been created by monkeys with typewriters, and another third was boring, the remaining third was surprising, even authentic. Of course, she confessed to becoming infatuated with this magical last third. And I actually had a part-time job recently, but I wasn't very good at it. It was with this company called Outlier, and they were paying me $35 an hour to rewrite responses that the AI gives you. And it was like the most frustrating job because I'm like, you know, these responses aren't even bad. And then they're like, you have to make the prompt more complicated. You have to make all these constraints for the prompt. And I'm like, but yeah, I guess I wasn't very good at it. I got better at it, like according to their feedback, but I guess I didn't get better at it quickly enough because they boot me off the project. They cut me off of their Slack. So they have now, and jobs, if you're interested, where you can make money rewriting AI to make it sound more authentic. What it does is it'll like repeat word combinations and phrases, which is actually kind of authentic writing because most people aren't very good writers. All right, anyway, it's pretty good if you give it a good prompt, but they wanted all these. The one that I did the best on, the one that I got a perfect score on, was I made up a business trip for rich investors coming to New York City. And what was very interesting is you sort of had to like fact check it. So it's like, I want it to be 3 blocks, right? Give it a hard constraints, 3 blocks away from this theater, right, in New York City. And they recommended this hotel that was like uptown. And I'm like, okay. Like, so it was quite a bit of work. I was like looking up maps and things for that one. And that's the only one I did well on. Anyway, they kicked me out. But so she becomes obsessed with this third that sounds authentic. For a long time, she would save texts. They felt so precious. After a while, though, she realized that the texts were infinite. She could have one whenever she needed it. So she read them and let them go. 3 years later, Laurie Anderson explains to The Guardian that the results can still be hit and miss. 3/4 of it is just completely idiotic and stupid, she says. And then maybe 15% is like, oh, and then the rest is pretty interesting. And that's a pretty good ratio for writing, I think. While innumerable AI-created songs rock the music industry, hundreds of artists, including Stevie Wonder and heirs of Bob Marley and Frank Sinatra, have signed an open letter from the Artists' Rights Alliance calling on AI developers to stop generating copycat programs and using AI-generated products. But Anderson is not at all bothered. I mean, why does she need to be bothered? She already is in the game. It's not affecting her. Like, she's a legacy, avant-garde artist at this point. Okay, Laurie, like, this should, I think, be a cause for alarm among creative people who literally make a living using their voice and their talents. And though I don't think musicians are the most intelligent people, I think they're talented people. And in this world, you should be able to, make whatever living you can off of your talents if you have any. Which is why I hate Patti Smith, because I just don't think she's talented at all. Unlistenable, honestly, her music. We'll get into Patti Smith. I'm gonna get that Maplethorpe book. Anyway, people should be shit scared, dude, of this for their careers if they're artists. But so she's not bothered. The way she sees it, quote, when people die and you hear their words or hear their music or read their things, it's like they're alive, And couldn't you just do that by listening to his music? I mean, did you need to create an entire chatbot in conjunction with museums? I mean, it's all very interesting to me. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you for listening, and I hope you're having an awesome time doing whatever you're doing.